Christian Craig has received backlash for sandbagging in the 250 West class, but is it sandbagging or is there a different problem within the sport? Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? My name is Tyler Deering, back with another episode of Gate Drop News. Now, recently I've seen a lot of you guys around the moto community complaining about the dominance that Christian Craig has experienced in the 250 West class, calling it sandbagging, saying that he doesn't deserve to be in the class. Now, at first glance, I think this makes sense, but after looking at race results, Craig's career, in addition to who he's riding against, I don't think this is the case, and I think for two reasons, it's actually a different problem within the sport of Supercross. First off, Christian Craig is not a sandbagger, as he has not had a ton of success in the Premier Class ranks, which is the 450 division. In his time on the 450, Craig has had 0 Supercross wins. Although he hasn't made many starts, he hasn't even won an outdoor race on a 450. Craig started his career way back in 2011. He's 30 years old. He's been here for a very long time, but the success hasn't really been there, hence the reason why he hasn't pointed out of the 250 class. This point system, while it gets made fun of for causing riders to miss races earlier in their career, it does a successful job at keeping out guys that have had success in the Premier class from coming down, running in the 250 class, and taking championships away from younger guys. But Craig is not one of those examples, because not only has he not won 450 championships or races, he hasn't won a 250 championship. And all of this outcry that I'm hearing this season because of his dominance was completely non-existent last year when he was getting outrun by Colt Nichols. Now, this goes along with my number one point, which is that guys in the 250 class are not ready to move up to the 450 class because they're not riding against the top riders in the sport. Think about it. Christian Craig is not a top 3 main event guy in the 450 class. He's a very good rider, and I think we'll see some awesome runs from him when he finally does get that promotion into the 450 class. But Craig has not shown consistent speed in running up front and contending for main event wins. How are we going to expect these young 250 guys to come out and win right away, like Dylan Ferrandis is struggling right now, and guys like that, when they're not competing against guys that can run up front in the 250 class? Statistics have shown that very few 250 regional champions will ever win a main event in Supercross, and part of that is because that they don't ride against the top competition. Now, I definitely don't think we should be bringing down more guys from the 450 class into the 250 class, but that said, we can't be surprised when these 250 guys struggle, because they're not racing against the best competition. The top 450 guys and the top 250 guys, there is a huge gap. And if they can't beat Craig, they can't contend in the 450 class. This season has shown me that guys like Hunter Lawrence, Joe Shimoda, Michael Mosman, while extremely quick, do not have the pace to move up to the 450 class and have any kind of success. Point number 2, why Christian Craig's presence in the 250 West class is actually a good thing, is that it's not the sandbagging that people have a problem with, it's the dominance. The example I'll use is Formula 1. In the early 2010s, Sebastian Vettel was the #1 driver in Formula 1 driving for Red Bull. You would see him, after winning races, actually get booed as he climbed upon the top step of the podium because fans felt that the outcome was predictable. Now, in reality, Vettel wasn't doing anything wrong, and what you'll see is over time these guys start to come back as fan favorites because they're not winning as much. That's the deeper problem with this Craig dominance, is that it's not that he's sandbagging. He doesn't have the points to necessarily point out of the 250 class, and he doesn't have the speed to run up front in the 450 class. Craig has earned this championship. He rightfully deserves to be here. The problem that many Supercross fans are experiencing is it's predictable because he is dominating. But don't let that take away from the fact that Christian Craig is an excellent rider and that he deserves to be in this class. He deserves to win this championship. When Craig ran against Colt Nichols last year, there was no talk of Craig sandbagging. Because Colt Nichols was winning the majority of the races and ended up winning the championship, the attention was off of Craig, who at that point was only a year younger, still would have been considered sandbagging, but he wasn't winning every time, and no one had a problem with it. So if you want to call Craig out for dominating, call him out for dominating, but at least give him the credit that he deserves, which is one of the fastest 250 riders in the world right now. Whatever you do, don't call it a sandbag, because it's definitely not. Christian Craig is in prime position to win his first Supercross title at age 30. That is a story that we should be celebrating, not getting frustrated over because he's taking race wins away from younger guys. even though those younger guys could be winning races, if Craig was not in the class, it would not be indicative of future performance in the 450 class, because if they can't beat Christian Craig, they're sure as heck not going to run up front in a 450 main event. And this problem is not just related to Craig. I hate to break it to you guys, but if Jason Anderson goes out and wins 6 or 7 races this year and runs away with the title, or Eli Tomac for that matter, the fans will get tired of it, and they will complain about the dominance. It's an understandable thing. Look, I don't want to see the same guy win every week. I'm right there with you. But we can't call it sandbagging in the 250 class, because Christian Craig deserves more than that. He's been around the sport a long time. He's given several injuries, massive amounts of time away from family, away from friends to be here. He deserves to win this 250 championship. It's not a sandbag. And I'm excited to see him pull it off. I think he'll get a promotion to the 450 class here soon. We'll see what kind of top-end speed he can have. But having that guy in the 250 class that is the benchmark to prove everybody else against is not a bad thing. And we can't discourage that from the sport. Anyway, guys, that's all the time I have for you. Go check out the other videos down below. Super excited to keep covering this for y'all. Minneapolis is this weekend, and we'll see our first glimpse at the 250 East Coast Championship. I just made a video with Derek Harris from HP Race Development yesterday. It's a longer conversation. Let me know if you guys are interested in that, but that sure was fun to do. So anyway, we'll have a race review video up shortly. It is a day race this time, so hopefully it can be up that night. Stay tuned. We got some exciting stuff coming around. Anyway, I will see y'all in the next one.